Lovely morning to you out there this 21st day of February 2025. And a lucky Friday matter. Well, we'll say thank you. Thank God it's Friday. My name is Ajuluchuku Okabwe.
My name is Nonya Nwokoye. Welcome to the show this morning, and we're so delighted to be counted amongst the living.
Honestly, every day is a miracle. And to witness a brand new day, well, count yourself among the lucky ones. And that's how we're going to be running this morning on Good Morning Anambra. But don't go anywhere because the show is just about to begin on our first program, which is the paper review, which is coming up next. To have you back, and the show is starting with the news making headlines on ABS website. And the very first news we have for you this lovely morning is Ohanaeze Ndigbo seeks support for Anambra State government in fight against insecurity. We have more Anambra residents urge the police to rearrest two suspected killers of late lawmaker Azuka, who has escaped from custody. Also, we have here World Day of Social Justice. Stakeholders call for promotion of citizens' welfare. International Community marks Mother Language Day. Federal government China strengthens ties for economic diversification. We also have reps ask federal government to include Ndokwa Ukwan federal constituency in presidential amnesty program. Mrs. Tinubu calls for bridging of social gaps, promotion of inclusion. U.S. Court of Appeal declines to overturn injunction blocking Trump's executive order limiting birthright citizenship. And on the foreign scene, we have Gaza, Hamas handover bodies of 4 captives. And that's all we have for you on ABS website this morning. Well, it's really, really interesting to know that the world is celebrating the community, the world community marks today as World Language, Mother Language Day. What happens to father language?
You're asking me. You asked that Igbonasu nile or not. I don't know how to put it. Mana, the truth of the matter is that today being a World Mother Language Day has its importance. It's part of our culture. It's part of a culture of people. You know, when you speak your language, that is what you are identified with. You know, like if I see somebody speak Hausa, automatically you know the person is an Hausa person. Or maybe the person knows how to speak, but you know the person is speaking Hausa. And the same way with somebody that speaks Igbo. Yeah.
Well, it's very, very important, and that will be what our discussion today in the discussion segment. So I implore that you just stick around and then get to know what we'll have to offer you.
And of course, you will tell us whether you know how to speak your mother language.
Yeah, I'm learning. We all learn.
It's not just about you, you know, every other person watching out there. Okay, now, Ohanaeze Ndigbo supporting Anambra State government in fight against insecurity. You know, it has always been said that security is every man's business, you know. Even if you are not told to do this, when you're in your house, you don't leave your doors open for people to just walk in anyhow. That's part of security. You know, when we put a gate and lock it when we go to bed at night, that's part of security. And when something happens, maybe you hear a noise, and you try to get up in the night to see what actually is going on. You are a security person,
of course,
so to speak.
Well, the more security conscious you are, not just around your neighborhood, but even everywhere you go, it's always important because it sends that negative signals to those people that will want to perpetrate crime to know that when you do something, somebody that sees it will definitely tell someone. You understand? When you see something, you say something. And that way we can help, you know, increase our security consciousness and then deter reduce the rate of insecurity incidents in our society.
All right, quickly we move to the, okay, we take a short break here for, I don't know, we'll take a short break. The program will return just after now in a jiffy.
Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS. With delight, we bring you the light that we bear through our illustrious leaders. Our icons. Our industrious people. Our rich culture, our places of pride, and our mouth-watering cuisine. With unbridled professionalism and renewed tenacity, we serve you real-time news, information, entertainment of varied genres with unfettered reach of your clients and customers. AB.
Welcome back to the live studios of Good Morning Anambra, where we are on press review, and we've been joined by Ejike Abata. All right, Ejike, it's good to have you.
Good
Happy
morning.
weekend.
I wish you the very best of it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, we now take a look at the first paper for review, the Punch newspaper. That's what we are looking at. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Punch. Okay, we see Knox as IBB regrets annulling MKO Abiola's victory in 1993. We have a rider there. Fenifere, others say Babangida's comment belated. Ex-police chiefs fault FG's 55 billion naira security contract for Turkish firm. Now, presidential panels go up 21 billion naira in 7 years. 13.7 trillion naira federation account revenue withheld by NMPCL, FAC report. Other stories in front of the Punch: kidnapper event, now prison teacher, willing to forfeit 14 trucks. Okay, tension as Natasha tackles the Senate president over seat relocation. And AGF warns Adeleke against LG poll. IG dismisses governor's allegations. Economists warn CBN as MPC retains a 27.5% interest rate. Naira rises to $1,494.03 at official market. Now, Nejike, I saw this this story of IBB yesterday saying that it was actually Abiola that won the election, you know, in the annulled election in 1993. And there was a comment that I saw there. Somebody said after 37 years, they will still come to tell us that it was P2B that won election last year, you know.
The question is, now that he had made that revolution, then what next? What is the purpose of saying it?
Are we going to wake him from the grave?
From the grave and then make him the president? It doesn't count. As far as I'm concerned, that statement is an indictment on him, and he should be arrested. If in a normal setting where things work, in a society where things work, he should be arrested by now, because it's a confessional statement, and because he had no reason at the time to annul that election. If you look back, you realize the things that happened at the time. How many people lost their lives? People were imprisoned. So many things happened and during that time because of a statement by one man. So it's an indictment on him. But welcome to Nigeria. Such things does not count. He barely made the statement. Probably it will even, as far as I'm concerned, is an advert for his book. So people will go and buy that book to even read more about the statements he made. So it doesn't count.
All right, Evans has turned to a teacher in prison. And you know, Angelo, you were so furious when you saw on papers that they want to rehabilitate and reintegrate into the system repentant Boko Haram. So and now Evans is now a teacher in prison.
I think his counsel once said he's now a born again even. So we do not know, until we read the report, we do not know which of the teacher, maybe Bible teacher or academic teacher. Because his counsel said he has turned a new leaf, he's now a born again. So, and then the issue of forfeiting 14, he has no choice. He doesn't have a choice. Those things that were confiscated from him are now properties of the government, even though government at the end of the day may not be able to account for them. But they are no longer his because they are proceeds of crime. So if he is now a teacher...
If you're a born again, you should do restitution.
Of course. It's all part
So the trucks are included.
What has he done?
It's all part of it. It's all part of it. But then you know the prison is a correctional facility. Maybe we should begin to give kudos to officials of the prison who have been able to reform and transform Evans, if truly that's the case, because that is the essence of having them in those facilities and changing the name as well, because it's no longer prison, it's not the correctional center. So kudos to the officials who have been able to reform. But we look forward to others. It's not just about Evans. We look forward to others being reformed as well.
Okay.
Thanks for your submission. Let's go to the next paper for review this morning, and that is the Vanguard newspaper. And I begin with the mast saying CBN defends hike in ATM withdrawal charges. No evidence U.S. aid funds Boko Haram. That's coming from U.S. ambassador. And then the writer there says reps probe allegations as lawmakers say U.S. envoy's claim was wrong. We have courts reject Trump's request to reinstate birthright citizenship ban. And then the banner headline of the Vanguard newspaper, June 12th, I feared Abiola's assassination could lead to civil war. That's coming from IBB. Let's see what the writer there says. Abiola won poll. I take responsibility for annulment. Forces led by Abacha annulled poll without my authorization. Unfortunately, there's no Abacha to ask. I failed to secure military colleagues' commitment to handover. Hopes mystery behind Dele Giwa's death will be uncovered. Rakes in billions of naira for presidential library. Without Babangida, I wouldn't be in politics. That's coming from Tinubu. IBB's comment, not new, Falaye. Then we have Senate to federal government, name national monument after Ayo Adebanjo. That you find on page 4. Osun local government crisis may lead to violence if, and well, that story you definitely get to know the if, coming from the PDP governors. Del Piero slams Gasparini over Lukman's comments. Well, that's interesting to see for sports lovers. You can definitely go to see that on the Vanguard newspaper. Let's go and see what we have on the Daily Independent. Finally, IBB agrees MKO Abiola won June 12 presidential election. Well, good enough, that's no longer news. And the writer says, Abacha orchestrated events that led to the annulment. Announcement was made without my authority. Former military president takes full responsibility. You missed opportunity to make history in 1993, Tinubu tells IBB. Admitting Abiola won June 12 election is courageous of IBB. Governors push for state representation in constitution review. Uproar in Senate as Natasha takes up Akpabio over change of seat. We have MPC halts hawkish trend, holds rate as analysts applaud decision. Reps set to probe US aid over alleged link to terrorism. Parish plans to impose state of emergency in Osun, Damagun warns federal government. Leah Shaibu must be freed now, can't demand urgent action. And at the most, you have over half of medications in Nigeria are fake. That's coming from the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Then you have customs poised for 14-digit revenue collection in 2025. Adeniyi appreciates, that's coming from Adeniyi, appreciate independence award. That's all we have.
I wonder whether PSN are trying to indict themselves. That's Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria.
Probably.
You know, what's their work then? When most of the drugs medications in Nigeria are fake.
It behoves on NAFDAC. I think it's an indictment on NAFDAC because you have NAFDAC officials at the port of entry. You understand? They have an office there.
And they have some.
They have some. But NAFDAC, let's focus on NAFDAC now because it's their duty yes, it has to do with drugs. So if we are having such, if they are saying we have fake drugs coming to, what then is NAFDAC doing? What is their duty at the port? Because that is where the drugs coming from. It is their duty to check these drugs before they are distributed to several states and markets. But if at the end of the day we find fake drugs on the shelves of pharmacies, then first of all we indict NAFDAC before we even look at PSN, because except PSN is telling us that the drugs that is being produced in Nigeria are fake, aside the ones that are imported, then the duty of PSN, pharmacists they make the drugs themselves. So if they are producing drugs that are fake, then they should look inwards and find the bad eggs among themselves, and so they will be prosecuted. Having said that, this issue about US aid, US ambassador saying USA, there's no proof to, it's between the US ambassador and the Senate and US Senate. So it's not a statement that came from Nigerians. It's a statement that came from the US Senate. So the US ambassador should be addressing his refutal to the US Senate. So it's an issue between both of them. It did not come from, if it came from Nigeria, then it should be addressing us. So they should go and look inwards. But I know if you go to places like the teaching hospital just across the road, you see projects that US aid did inside. So maybe part of the funds we are used to fund terrorism. Maybe part of them we are used to put some projects on ground so that at least you'll be able to point and say, this is what we're able to do. We wouldn't know, but I do not think for a U.S. senator to make such statements, he must have several proof and evidences for him to make, because it's an indicting statement. Of course, there can't be a smoke without fire. And as regards the headline on Vanguard talked about Abiola's assassination. Because
fear of Abiola's assassination. I feared Abiola's assassination.
But
lead to civil war.
He feared that, but it's more like saying that Abiola was assassinated. That's what that's where I read that story. He's telling us now that Abiola was assassinated, contrary to what people, because some persons said yes, he was assassinated. Some persons were saying no, he died of a natural cause. But if you taking time to read the issues surrounding Abiola's death, you will discover that the tilt towards assassination, because it even had to do with the U.S. ambassador at the time, serving Abiola tea and all of that, and then the next thing we heard is Abiola is dead. So the whole issue, Babangida coming out to the owing up and saying he should be held responsible and all what, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. Let us do the right thing. Let us, for once, let's do the right thing. And I'm also using this opportunity to make a case for the late Humphrey Nwosu, who was chairman of the electoral body at the time, who stood courageous and declared the winner of that election. Nothing has been said of Humphrey Nwosu, for God's sake. He just passed on last year. Up to now, nothing has been. He should be honored. He should be immortalized. He doesn't. We have very few persons. How many, going by the number of INEC chairmen we've had over the years, who amongst them can stand toe-to-toe against Humphrey Nwosu? So he should be immortalized, just like Abiola has been immortalized. The same thing should be done for Humphrey. It's a way of encouraging public officers, knowing that if you do the right thing, at the end of the day, you will be honored.
He's still talking on the story of the IBB's, will I say, book launch declaration and the rest of it all. What do you have to say about his stance on the fact that Abacha was the person that actually, Who
was president at the time?
Abacha took the wheels and they probably made things spin out of control.
Who was the president at the time?
But my own is all these revelations that are coming out now. What do we do with them?
Even the Abacha that Abacha is no more, so we can't.
But we have Abdul Salam. We still have Abdul Salam. But that was still in the mix of.
Yes, but he didn't mention Abdul Salam. He mentioned Abacha. We cannot wake Abacha and ask him if what Babangida said is true. Why didn't he make those revelations before now? Just like Tinubu said, he missed the opportunity of making history. Why is he telling us now Abacha is late? Humphrey Nwosu even is late. If Humphrey Nwosu were around now, we would have been able to say, okay, what's your own side of the story? But now Humphrey Nwosu is late, and he's launching his book today and making several revelations. It doesn't count for anything.
All right, let's see. The Nation newspaper is next in our lineup. Let's see stories. It's still IBB. Abiola won June 12, 1993 election. I regret its annulment. With a rider there, a poll cancellation done by Abacha forces without my authorization. No proof, you said. No proof U.S. aid funds are sustaining Boko Haram, says U.S. envoy. Osun Council poll will be illegal, says AGF. Now, remove trade tariff on Nigeria's import. Federal government urges China. Heaps of sand. Okay, central bank targets single-digit inflation in 3 years. Heaps of sand used to block access to Benue CJ's office. Federal facilities for Osun Ekiti. Oyo, Obomosho Road contract revoked. And quickly we see the Guardian newspaper. IBB admits Abiola won June 12, 1993 election. Regrets annulment. Okay, I think that's the story in all the papers. CBN adopts cautious approach to rebase the inflation, upholds parameters. Next seeks action against malnutrition, sidesteps tax bill, state, police, others. FG tells Adeleke to suspend Osun local government election. Population growth will spike petrol demand by 93 billion liters. ARDA warns. Obebolos calls administration high after 100 days in office. Lagos warns motorists against fake VINs, concealed number plates. US says USAID not sponsoring, but okay, we've seen that before. And of course, Rowdy Senate as member protested reassignment. I think we need to look at that. You know, I watched that video. I was like, what actually is going on here?
You know, you don't just come into the National Assembly and take any seats that you like or you wish. There are positions where ranking members, assigned to ranking members, and Natasha, because of the new intake of politicians who moved from one political party to another, so there was need for, because they have separate seats, so there was need for them to readjust so as to be able to take in the new intakes. So that needed a cost for some persons to leave their seat and get reassigned. And that was what all hell broke loose when Senator Natasha refused to leave her seat. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's just it's a proper thing to do. They have, APC now have more members. So the seats that they hitherto occupy is no longer sufficient for them. So they need some persons to adjust so that they'll be able to take in their new members who have their own part of the floor where they sit. But the senator refused, and it turned into a rowdy session. You know, it shows that even the Senate president does not have a hold of the Senate. It's also so that some persons have animosity towards the Senate president. This issue of how he became Senate president and some of the things he has been able to do and say, you understand, it's not going down well with some persons. And they might have been looking for an opportunity to vent. And that opportunity came for Natasha yesterday. And then she didn't hold anything back. She just let everything out. So whatever be the case, I know that at the end of the day, they will have a way to resolve the issue. Bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, Natasha will still have to move. It's not just her, but maybe for reasons I do not know, she took it personally.
She took it so personal. That was why the house became rowdy yesterday. Well, I wonder what younger generations are learning from all these elders. You know, the decorum should be part of their watchword in what they do. But sure, we don't see those things in what they are actually doing. Anyway, I don't know. Let's look at another story that we can take a look at before. Okay, now they are asking Adeleke not to hold the local government election. You know, for the past week, over the past week, there's been crisis, even with killings of former LG chair and others over what I don't know. I don't really know what they are fighting for. But now there's this advice coming from the federal government for him not to hold the local government election.
The question is, what did the court say? That's the question. What did the court say? The court has not said he should not hold the election. If Oyetola and his group have issue with what is Adeleke and the forthcoming election, they should go to a higher court. It's very easy to get injunctions in Nigeria, so they should know.
But don't you think the federal government is just trying to shelve further killings?
It's not. It's not. No. Let us follow the law. It's not the duty of the federal government to say don't hold the election or this. What does the court say? court don't hold this election. If the court pronounce and say, don't hold this election, then if he goes ahead to hold the election, then he would be prosecuted.
Okay, can he on his own decide not to hold the election because of the crisis in his state?
He can decide now, but you can't force him into deciding not to hold the election. Okay. That's why I say it's only the court. And the court has not said, that's why I say if Oyetola has any issue, they should go to a higher court and get an injunction stopping the election. That is the way it is done. And Oyetola is very close to the center. So he should be able to, rather than causing chaos in the state that has led to death of some persons, that might even lead to death of some more people by Saturday, let's hope that the right thing is done. I don't know why the court is silent on this. And I do not know why Oyetola does not want to go to a higher court in a sense to stop the election. They have rather resolved to killing themselves. It doesn't augur well. I also want to talk about this what the CBN defending the rate of withdrawals, and you see it's what we have in Nigeria. It's sickening. It's very, very sad. Let me also remind us that telcos have kicked off their tariff hike. Yes, it has started. It has started, and I heard NLC will go on strike by March 1st. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is it's as if when we are beginning to adjust to one unfavorable government policy, government does not like seeing Nigerians happy. That's the way I see it. They are like, oh, these people are beginning to adjust. Let us look for something else to make them uneasy. How would you, if you look at the whole thing, it boils down that you are spending about 800 to 1,000 naira to withdraw 20,000 naira from ATM. Now, if you go to a standalone ATM, you'll be charged 500 naira. An ATM that is not within the bank premises, maybe a shopping mall, a hotel, you see an ATM, you go there, you'll be charged 500 naira. Aside the 100 naira that you will also be charged. So I don't know why, and they are defending it. It doesn't count at all. There's no reason at all. There's no justification for it. Nigerians are going through a lot, for God's sake. There are so many bills to be paid, and all we keep seeing is one hike after the other. One hike in tariff, electricity tariff, hike in telco, increase in house rent. Food inflation is hitting the roofs, and we keep getting. There seems to be no end in sight to all of these things. This is not what Nigerians look forward to, and the problem is, supporters of the government at the center will keep telling you, don't worry, very soon, the Tinubu is doing marvelously well. Very soon, you will begin to reap the fruit of. How soon is very soon? This was the same thing we had in 2015, 2016, 2017. Okay, 8 years, now we are back to it again, and you keep telling us very soon, very soon. Like I keep saying, there should be a timeline to these reforms. Tell us within the next 1 year, dollar will be 500 or 400 to the naira.
Is he telling you that will solve the problem?
I think they should be put so we'll be able to hold them. So we'll be able to hold them. We'll be able to hold them accountable. But then when you keep hearing that very soon he's doing.
And you remember, our president said, "Let the poor breathe." I don't know if this is how
the same person is suffocating us. No, he's suffocating us. We are not Nigerians. The poor are not breathing. He's suffocating the poor.
Well, let's take the next paper for review, and that's the Daily Trust. And then we have no evidence of U.S. aid funds Boko Haram, and that's one from the U.S. Niger Convention recommends 5-year transition for Chiani. Federal government acts a delegate to halt Osun local government election. We still have Naira appreciates to 1,505 Naira per dollar as CBN retains interest rates. Akpabio, Natasha clash again. 2 jailed for stealing lawyer's phone. 2 Nigerians awarded £50,000 Commonwealth Peace Prize. And then the banner headline is still talking about the June 12th. I take responsibility. That's coming from IBB. The Nigerian Tribune is next on review this morning, and then the banner headline still saying MKO won June 12 election. Abacha annulled it, IBB says. Without Babangida, I wouldn't have joined politics. That's speaking. That's the president speaking. Dangote, Rabiu, Danjuma, Ato Eze, others donate over 16 billion for IBB presidential library. Then we have Natasha in another shouting match with Akpabio. NUT Islam's federal government over 12-year basic education proposal. And we have Senate observes minute silence for late Adebanjo. You are a product of God's grace. At 77, cleric tells Awolowo Dosomu. Federal government terminates Oyo Ogbomoso road contract. BC Akande misrepresented me in his comment on death of Bola Ige. That's coming from Brigadier General Oluwole. And then we have CBN retains 27.50%. Interest rates maintains monetary policy parameters. AGF to Osun government, shelve local government pool, Court of Appeal reinstated APC chairman. You are not a court of law, Osun government, replies AGF. And then last but not the least, the blueprint. 32 years after IBB admits Abiola won June 12 presidential election, and we have accept full responsibility, says accident of history most regrettable. Each expect harsh criticism, Obasanjo tells ex-military presidents. And then we have Senate Akpabio Natasha Tango at plenary over seat allocation. And then we have sports. Lukman will quit Atalanta. That's coming from the transfer report. Then we have Dangote, T.Y. Danjuma, BUA orders raise 17.5 billion for IBB presidential library. Well, that's the much we have here on the page of the blueprint. Wow, what a massive money IBB actually made for his book launch. He was saying 17.5 billion naira there. That's really, really huge coming from there. But then we've said so much about virtually everything that we have on this paper.
Let me just talk about Lukman's case in Atalanta. Okay. It's unfortunate the way Italians treat Nigerian players. It's almost the same thing that happened then. Let's remember that when Osimhen also lost a penalty in Napoli, that was the beginning of his problem in Napoli. And that was how he left. They forgot about everything, the contributions of Osimhen. Napoli has not won the Scudetto since the days of Maradona, if I remember well, until Osimhen came, you understand, and gave them that trophy. Now he missed a penalty and they took him to the cleaners. Lukman, no player has ever scored a hat-trick in a UEFA Champions League.
Atalanta has not even won any European Championship.
And Lukman came and gave it to them. And because he missed it, which player has not missed a penalty? From the Messis to the Ronaldos, which player has not missed a penalty? Even to Neymar. And then Lukman he missed a penalty. It's not as if the penalty is a deciding a penalty for them. It's not as if he has scored, they would have been equalized. No. But and the person they have 3 players who ought to have taken that penalty, but they gave him that the ball. It's not as if he decided on his own to take the penalty, and he missed it. And then this coach of all persons, if it were coming from the fans, it would have been a different thing. But his coach took him to the cleaners, and it's very, very unfair. That was how Osimhen was shipped out of Napoli. The same thing is happening to Lukman in Atalanta. Even though we heard that before now there were plans of him leaving Atalanta, but this would have this issue now, this case on ground now, it's a more reason why he would want to even leave Atalanta and find peace elsewhere. This is a player who is on his prime, Africa's best player as we speak, and you see the way he was treated by his own coach.
All right.
Very, very unfortunate.
All right, we can go on and on the dailies today, national dailies, of course, but this is the much time could allow us to take on the press review for today. I would like to thank you so much, Ejike, for being here this Friday.
Pleasure.
All right, we have more coming on Good Morning Anambra show. Do stay.